Hello, here I am back in New Jersey at my space at the Elila Center. It's good to be back. So we'll continue on our exploration of A Course in Miracles. Today we will practice lesson 32. We'll continue reading from the text. We are now in chapter 20, and we'll look at the final principle of miracles, which is principle number 50. So I'm going to go ahead now and share my screen to begin our reading. I'm clicking on Read A Course in Miracles, clicking on the text. We're scrolling down to chapter 20, The Vision of Holiness. We are in Holy Week, and as luck would have it, it is actually Holy Week this week as I'm making this recording here on April the 16th in 2025. All right, I'm going to go back to share. So we are right on time. Paragraph 1. This is Palm Sunday, the celebration of victory and the acceptance of the truth. Let us not spend this holy week brooding on the crucifixion of God's Son, but happily in the celebration of his release. For Easter is the sign of peace, not pain. A slain Christ has no meaning, but a risen Christ becomes the symbol of the Son of God's forgiveness on himself. The sign he looks upon himself as healed and whole. Fantastic. Let's continue for paragraph 2. This week begins with palms and ends with lilies. The white and holy sign the Son of God is innocent. Let no dark sign of crucifixion intervene between the journey and its purpose, between the acceptance of the truth and its expression. This week we celebrate life, not death, and we honor the perfect purity of the Son of God and not his sins. Offer your brother the gift of lilies, not the crown of thorns, the gift of love and not the gift of fear. You stand beside your brother, thorns in one hand and lilies in the other, uncertain which to give. Join now with me and throw away the thorns, offering the lilies to replace them. This Easter, I would have the gift of your forgiveness offered by you to me and returned by me to you. We cannot be united in crucifixion and in death, nor can your resurrection be complete till your forgiveness rests on Christ along with mine. Okay, so we are being called to make sure that we position our attention and our intention on the resurrection, on everlasting life, not on the crucifixion. We're being asked to focus our attention away from fear and to choose love instead. And then the symbol that we've been given with that, which is quite a clear one, is the symbol of the thorns, a crown of thorns compared with a bouquet of lilies. And so even as we just take a minute to feel that out, we can feel out what a crown of thorns feels like and represents compared to what the lilies represent. And so when in our everyday waking life, one of our brothers and sisters, close to us or not, acts in a way that is unwanted, unexpected, perhaps even unpleasant, what do we choose in that moment? Do we choose fear in that moment? Do we choose uncertainty? Or do we choose to see it through God's perspective? And do we choose peace instead? Do we choose love instead? And so what do we offer? Do we press the crown of thorns on our brother's or sister's head? Do we crucify them in a moment? It takes vigilance. I get that. Or do we ground ourselves in faith and love and bestow them with the lilies? And before I go back to sharing the screen for paragraph 3, what is fun for me is that the A Course in Miracles uses the symbol of the lilies quite a lot to represent Christ and to represent love. And by a happy coincidence, this space, this ministry is called the Alila Center, and that the etymology of Alila is twofold, but one of them is that it is a representation of lilies, lilies being a flower for renewal, for rebirth, for healing, for purity. And the logo, our logo, is actually a lily. I hand drew the abstract version looking at an actual real life lily. And so I'm just sharing because I love the synchronicity. I love the coincidence. All right, so let me go back to share the screen for paragraph 3 now. A week is short, and yet this holy week is the symbol of the whole journey the Son of God has undertaken. He started with the sign of victory, the promise of the resurrection already given him. Let him not wander into the temptation of crucifixion and delay him there. Help him to go in peace beyond it, with the light of his own innocence lighting his way to his redemption and release. Hold him not back with thorns and nails when his redemption is so near. Be let the whiteness of your shining gift of lilies speed him on his way to resurrection. Okay, let's continue for paragraph 4. Easter is not the celebration of the cost of sin, but of its end. If you see glimpses of the face of Christ behind the veil, looking between the snow-white petals of the lilies you have received and given as your gift, you will behold your brother's face and recognize it. I was a stranger and you took me in, not knowing who I was. Yet for your gift of lilies you will know. In your forgiveness of this stranger, alien to you, and yet your ancient friend, lies his release and your redemption with him. The time of Easter is a time of joy and not of mourning. Look on your risen friend and celebrate his holiness along with me, for Easter is the time of your salvation along with mine. Okay, so I think it's enough to just simply remind ourselves that this week is a time for joy. It's not a time for mourning. It's not a time to wallow and focus on past grievances, past sins, but rather it is an opportunity for redemption, for freedom. So let's go now to our lesson. I'll go back to share the screen. We're going back to the home workbook for students, and we are going to practice lesson 32. I'll have the narrator read the lesson for us.
Lesson 32. I have invented the world I see. Today we are continuing to develop the theme of cause and effect. You are not the victim of the world you see because you invented it. You can give it up as easily as you made it up. You will see it or not see it as you wish. While you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. The idea for today, like the preceding ones, applies to your inner and outer worlds, which are actually the same. However, since you see them as different, the practice periods for today will again include 2 phases, one involving the world you see outside you, and the other the world you see in your mind. In today's exercises, try to introduce the thought that both are in your own imagination. Again, we will begin the practice periods for the morning and evening by repeating the idea for today 2 or 3 times while looking around at the world you see as outside yourself. Then close your eyes and look around your inner world. Try to treat them both as equally as possible. Repeat the idea for today unhurriedly, as often as you wish, as you watch the images your imagination presents to your awareness. For the two longer practice periods, 3 to 5 minutes are recommended, with not less than 3 required. More than 5 can be utilized if you find the exercise restful. To facilitate this, select a time when few distractions are anticipated and when you yourself feel reasonably ready. These exercises are also to be continued during the day as often as possible. The shorter applications consist of repeating the idea slowly as you survey either your inner or outer world. It does not matter which you choose. The idea for today should also be applied immediately to any situation that may distress you. Apply the idea by telling yourself, I have invented this situation as I see it.
Okay, so what a great lesson. We are being invited to use the idea for today's lesson throughout the day. I have invented the world I see. That brings full responsibility back to us, doesn't it? So the practice period is inviting us to explore both the external world and the internal world, doing our best to not see them as different, but as the same, repeating the idea to ourselves. For our practice together, we're going to set a timer for 3 minutes on your own. For the longer practice periods, you could do as long as 5 minutes. But for our practice together, we're going to do 3 minutes. And so as usual, we'll start to prepare by just bringing our attention home here to what's actually happening. And whether you're sitting or whether you're standing or even whether you're still laying down, just bring attention to the support that's here as the furniture, as the floor. Give yourself permission to relax into the unconditional love and support. And for today, let's just remind ourselves that in this moment, I am safe. Reminding ourselves that in the moment that we think it, we are. So you can take a breath and just look around and look down and just remind yourself that, yes, I am safe, that in this moment, I am unconditionally loved and supported. We can bring our attention to the breath as well, affirming that, yes, I am breathing, that we have the gift of breath in this moment. It's good to be alive. And so I'm going to go ahead and find our timer. I'm setting the timer for 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again so that you can see the language. And so starting with eyes open, looking around, saying to yourself, I have invented the world I see. And then in time, I'll guide you to let your eyelids rest over your eyes and start exploring your inner terrain, your inner ideas, and applying today's idea to what you discover. I have invented the world I see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the timer now. Now, when you're ready, go ahead and let your eyelids rest over your eyes and just start exploring the inner terrain. Any thoughts that arise, whatever's going on in your everyday life. And just reminding yourself, saying to yourself, I have invented the world I see. Okay, and that is our timer. All right, so how was that for you? And so the instructions say to take a couple of moments out of the day for the longer practice periods, a time when you feel fairly rested and relaxed. The language is when you feel yourself reasonably ready to practice this lesson. And then the instructions also say that the shorter applications consist of repeating the idea slowly as you survey either your inner or outer world. It doesn't matter which you choose. And the idea for today should also be applied immediately to any situation that may distress you. Apply the idea by telling yourself, I have invented this situation as I see it, and see what happens after that. And I would love to hear what you notice when you do apply the idea in a stressful situation, in a situation that distresses you, what happens after that, especially given that we are practicing this lesson in the context of Holy Week, where our focus is to choose love over fear and to present our brothers and sisters with a bouquet of lilies over a crown of thorns, to look at everlasting life, the renewal of life, as opposed to death and crucifixion. All right, so let's go back now to the home, to the text, clicking on the meaning of miracles, principles of miracles, scrolling right down to number 50. And what I like to say is that you can take a screenshot of the miracle just to look at it, contemplate it throughout the day, especially considering that we're in Holy Week and it's an opportunity to really choose love to create the conditions of miracles while we forgive our brothers and sisters, focus not on fear, but on love and freedom, not on crucifixion through a crown of thorns and nailing them to the cross in our minds, because the lesson has just reminded us that we invented the world that we see, but rather just offer love, which is much more peaceful for us anyhow. All right, so principle of miracles, number 50. The miracle compares what you have made with creation, accepting what is in accord with it as true and rejecting what is out of accord as false. Okay, so that aligns perfectly with our lesson that we're practicing. And especially as we are in Holy Week, we're really just being called to be vigilant, to choose love over fear, to choose forgiveness ultimately over our grievances, so that we, in a conscious way, choose not to crucify our brothers and sisters, to nail them to the cross, but rather to offer them a bouquet of lilies, not only so they can heal, but so we both can heal and be free. Especially, too, as the lesson is reminding us that we are the ones who invented the world that we see. And what this is really saying, it feels abstract perhaps, but we can only have invented the world that we see because we can only experience the world through our own lens, through our own worldview. And we also only can interpret the world, this time-space reality, again, as I've mentioned before in the other videos, through our interpretive devices, which are our senses. But as we practice meditation, as we practice the Eastern healing arts, as we give ourselves to be still, to come home to prayer and meditation, then our consciousness can expand, our intuition becomes stronger, and we start to intuit and pick up on the more subtle aspects of reality and of our existence. But as I say, this is very convincing. However, it's not the be all and end all. There is more. And so our focus for this week is for everlasting life, for our eternal essence and our eternal nature, our own Christed light. And so, can we be that in the world? Can we choose that in the world, at least for this week, seeing as it's Holy Week? All right, wonderful. So thank you for joining with me again and exploring the Course in Miracles together, practicing the lessons together. If you have any observations, questions, please put them in the comments. And I just want to remind you that on the third Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern, I offer a mindfulness-based meditation class. And then on the fourth Monday of the month, I offer a meditation and natural healing self-help class also at 7 p.m. You can find the access links on the alilacenter.org website. And if there are any other classes that are of interest to you, please feel free to join them. All right. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.